Here we have it, folks.
At a campaign stop in Newfoundland, Pierre Poilievre checks off a list of promises.
These are all the demands that our energy sector has made.
Measures he say will unleash Canada's natural resources economy. Among them, repeal the ban on oil tankers in BC's oceans. But on a visit to Terrace near BC's north coast a week later,
I can't wait to bring the incredible riches.
That promise went unmentioned. So too did his criticism of Liberal leader Mark Carney for opposing a controversial oil project cancelled years ago.
He testified against the Northern Gateway pipeline.
The fact Poilievre is bringing these topics up has Arnie Nagy preparing for another fight.
We've been through this battle since 1978, and we've come to a conclusion that it is not a safe proposal.
Nagy is 61 years old, a member of the Haida Nation, and he works with survivors of Indian residential schools. When not working, he's on the water fishing for black cod and salmon to share with local Indigenous elders in Prince Rupert. He says if oil tankers are back on the agenda, the stakes of this election for him are clear.
Our way of life, family's way of life since time immemorial, the protection of the marine environment, the protection of our rights to go food fishing.
And he's not alone. More than a decade ago, when Enbridge first proposed building Northern Gateway to ship bitumen from Alberta to Kitimat, it met with steep opposition, protests and court cases which stalled the project until it was effectively killed by the tanker ban passed into law under Justin Trudeau in 2019. But now talk of the project, or one like it, is back, prompted in part by the threats posed by U.S. President Donald Trump and the desire to diversify Canada's trading partners. Carney says he supports more development, but as Prime Minister, he would not reverse the tanker ban. That position also held by NDP candidate Taylor Bachrach, running here for re-election.
We saw First Nations and communities, commercial fishermen and anglers, people from pretty much every walk of life come together and say they wanted to keep the risk of oil spills out of our northern waters. And we won.
Bachrach's biggest challenger in this race is Ellis Ross. The former chief councillor of the Haisla Nation and a former MLA was handpicked by the Conservatives to try to turn the riding blue. But Ross, too, once opposed Northern Gateway and warned of dire consequences if there were to be an oil spill in the Douglas Channel.
All 5, 6 salmon species will be gone. The herring that are just starting to come back will be gone.
But by 2019, his views seem to have evolved, testifying before the Senate that concerns around oil tanker traffic may be more based in ideology than actual fact. And at a public forum in Kitimat on April 15th, he said that doesn't mean he supports a ban altogether, just that he wants First Nations to be the final decision makers.
As this goes back to respecting Aboriginal rights and title, respecting the local knowledge.
Pointing out that both L'Aquilams and the Niska oppose the tanker ban, and he believes they and other coastal nations should have the final say. Carolina DeRyk, CBC News, Prince Rupert.